Hey guys, and happy Homebrew Wednesday. How are you? About 3 weeks ago, I went ahead and brewed up 2 batches. I did a double brew day and did 10 gallons each in preparation for a friend of mine's bachelor party. So what I decided to do was 2 pale ales and 2 brown ales. That was a really big success at the work party last summer, so I went ahead and tried to do another rendition of those. I was going to do primarily a Centennial and Cascade Pale Ale, but on brew day I found out that I didn't have any Cascade, so I went ahead and replaced that with Columbus. And yeah, towards the end of the boil I spiced it up with a little bit of Amarillo and Citra. The brown ale, that was a honey nut brown ale. Let's go ahead and just take a look at those recipes here real quick. 2 beers I had going on for the bachelor party I got coming up. First one here is the Columbus Centennial Pale Ale. This is actually based on my Rainbow Pale Ale recipe that's up on Brewtoad. But instead of the Cascade, I only had I found out I didn't have it, so I used Columbus instead. So I went Centennial Columbus, a little bit of Amarillo and Simcoe at the end during the whirlpool, and then instead of and then I went ahead and dry hopped it with Chinook and Centennial in one. Actually, I made a mistake there. Instead of Columbus and Amarillo, it was Chinook and Centennial that went in there. And then in the other one, the one that we're going to be racking off here in just a minute, will be dry hopped with 56 grams of Simcoe and 56 grams of Amarillo. It's a low ABV beer, 1054 for that one. It should be sessionable. Got this other one over here, Honey Nut Brown. Brewed it up on the same day. It was back to back, and I'm not actually using any honey, just the honey malt. So I'm using 2 crystals in here, the honey malt and the caramel. Of course, the Victory counts as a crystal as well, but yeah, there it is. This recipe is up on Brewtoad as well. All of the hop additions. Here we go. It's just Fuggle, East Kent Goldens, and Challenger, and a little bit more East Kent Goldens. That's it. Just a brown ale. Yep. That was also a sessionable beer, 1055. So I was aiming for. That's what I got. So I was pretty happy with that. That was a nice brew day. Alright, so that's the recipes, and the first one for the Columbus and Centennial Pale Ale, I went ahead and dry hopped with Chinook and Centennial about a week ago, and that was in the primary, dry hopping, and in that one I used US-05. After about 5 days, I went ahead and put that into the fridge where it's cold crashing now, and it'll probably remain there until next Tuesday. The other one, I went ahead and racked that off today and dry hopped it with Simcoe and Amarillo, and the second one, fermented with the Conan yeast strain. So let's go ahead and take a look at that. Okay, so here I am today. I'm going to go ahead and rack off some beer out of primary into a secondary. So this is how I do it. I've got my CO2 tank, and I've already got my clean carboy here, a better bottle. And what I like to do is to flush it out with CO2 first, get all of the air out of there. And also I put in the pellets first. So you can see a little bit of starch down there sticking beside on the side of the better bottle. And then I stick in my pellets after I thaw them out, after I take them out of the freezer, and I let them sit on the side for about probably 40 minutes or so, just let them all thaw out. And then I dump them in there, and then I go ahead and purge the tank with CO2. So the tank's already on. So just go ahead and turn this on a bit. I turn it on at a low volume, just to kind of let it, come down. Since the CO2 is heavier than the oxygen, it will sort of sink down, but of course it's all being mixed up right now, right? So most of the air, is just sort of stirring around, mixing around, but hopefully most of it's coming out while the CO2 will be filling that up as well. So I've already purged this off a little while ago, So I'm going to go ahead and just shut this off now. And then after that, I'll go ahead and just take the hose out and set that off to the side. And I got the cap here all sanitized, of course, and I'll just put the cap on it. And then it's going to sit like that until I'm ready to go ahead and start transfer. So let's go ahead and move this over into the bathroom and start to do that. Okay, so here we go. Just started the transfer of the pale ale, the Columbus Centennial Pale Ale. And this has the Simcoe and Amarillo dry hops in it. Kind of hard to see, but there it is. I like to go ahead and keep it on its side so that I don't agitate it there a little bit. You want to introduce the least amount of splashing as possible. So I'll go ahead and leave it like this for a little while, and then I'll go ahead and just let it go so that the turbulence doesn't introduce too much oxygen there. Sorry for the bad lighting. So here we go. It's coming out of the primary. Looking pretty clear. Really happy with this one. This one was with the Conan strain. So that's with the Fermentation yeast. And the other one I have cold crashing in the fridge. Over here, this is the Honey Nut Brown. It's one of them. And the other one is right down here. Last weekend I started another attempt at making a apple cider. So that's that one using WLP 775, I believe. So that's it, me dry hopping. You can see I put in a little bit of a apple cider in there. So very interested to see how that turns out. I apologize, I haven't been around lately doing Homebrew Wednesdays, just because there was just that one brew day in the whole span of since my last Homebrew Wednesday. I want to talk a little bit about, say a big shout out and thank you to Brian Mujati. Brian is a rugby player, and he's went on a diet over the course of the last year or so in order to slim and trim down. And he sort of turned me on to tracking macros. So back in September, when I shot that one Thirsty Thursday where I was on a treadmill, I had just started exercising 3 times a week, just jogging, and then also watching and tracking my macros. Over the course of the last 6 months, since September, I went from weighing 107 kilos, and now I'm down to 95 kilos. So that's 12 kilos that I've lost in just the last 6 months. Not a lot of training, and just eating healthy. I don't feel like I'm starving. In fact, most days I feel like it's hard for me to eat as much as I should. So it's been really, really interesting. So thanks a lot, Brian. For those who want the English translation, that turns into, I think, about 26.5 pounds. So that's quite a lot. I remember when Intermezzo was here, I was standing right there with him. We took a picture, I posted up on Facebook, and I couldn't stand that I had like a huge gut. So, I've sort of trimmed down, slimmed down a little bit, but I think I still want to go probably at least another 5 to 10 kilos to get to where I want to be. So yeah, thanks a lot, Brian. I really appreciate your inspiration. Keep it up with the Life of Brian videos. They're fantastic. Yeah, cheers. So here's my yeast slurries that I took from the Conan fermenter. So I'll go ahead and put these in the fridge and use these to create starters, or just put the slurry straight into the next beers I make that will use that yeast, and see how it goes. Hey, if you guys haven't seen already, go over to brewtubers.com and check it out. I posted another In the Brew House video series, this time with Immolateus. Now, I don't know if you know who Immolateus is, but if you've been doing Homebrew Wednesdays for a couple of years, you know who he is. He was an inspiration to me, an inspiration to many, and he got people, the whole community went on a wave of brewing gruits, and now he's well into brewing hot rocks, brewing with hot rocks and things like that. So go ahead and check out the interview, make a comment. Yeah, just tell us what you think. He's a great guy. Thanks a lot, Immolateus. It was fantastic talking to you. Looking forward to our next beer on Skype. Anyways, guys, really like watching all your videos. I'm sorry if I don't comment on all of them, but I am watching every single one of them. They've been really, really nice, helping me go through the week. Beyond that, guys, nothing to offer. Hope you're having a hell of a week. Have a better weekend. Cheers.